cut off from all communication.
I've been awake because I didn't want to miss a phone call. I didn't want to miss a text.
The fears of two mothers and their fight to get their kids back home after Hurricane Melissa strikes the Caribbean. Plus, regional transit route terminated.
We depend on it for her figure skating practice every week.
County residents will have to look for a new way to get to Windsor. And setting sail on the Detroit River.
It's difficult to move a boulder by yourself, but as a community, if everybody lifts, it becomes easier to move mountains.
A community effort to honor local veterans.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us both on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Hurricane Melissa has left a path of death and destruction in Jamaica. Half a world away, many families across Windsor, Essex, and Chatham-Kent are waiting for word their loved ones are okay. Our Michelle Molesky sat down with two of those mothers who are extremely frustrated during this time. They are here, their children over there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a great word for it, Stephanie. After a $15,000 vacation to Jamaica has taken an unfortunate turn for the Kell and Berg families, whose loved ones have survived the wrath of Melissa, but who now have nothing to do but survey her damage when all they want to do is come back home.
I know our girls were nervous. They were having a lot of hesitations about going.
But with no travel advisories in place, Kylie McCrae and Aislinn Kell left with their husband and boyfriend on October 23rd for Montego Bay, Jamaica.
After they landed in Jamaica, that's when the Canadian government came out with travel advisories. So they were stuck.
When the moms couldn't get any return flights, they told their kids to go into prep mode.
They started stockpiling food and water on Saturday.
Actually, they started Friday night because I told them, you get every water bottle.
Then the storm hit.
I've lived through smaller hurricanes, but I also lived in Texas, so I have knowledge. I said, you're going to go through the first wall, and then it's going to get really, really quiet and really calm. Do not come out. No matter what you do, do not come out, because when it comes back, it's going to come back in reverse.
And communication was cut off. The moms went nearly 3 full days not knowing if their kids were safe.
I've been awake because I didn't want to miss a phone call. I didn't want to miss a text. And what if it's a text and I didn't wake up because a text is all she could get through? So I just kept staying awake.
The call came Thursday. Word they are safe, but now facing a steep bill to stay that way.
The hotel came this morning and knocked on the door and told them you have to pay $250 US per person to continue to stay.
Their kids are hunkered down at the resort and hoping their scheduled flight does in fact leave on Saturday, bound for Toronto.
I might just drive up just so I can hug my kid before a 3.5, 4-hour drive home.
Yeah.
Berg and Kell's kids had to wait in line for 3 hours to board a bus to get closer to the airport to make those calls back home. The extended family here in Windsor, Essex now has a large group thread to share every tidbit of information they can get as they nervously wait for word their kids are back on Canadian soil. Stephanie.
Can't imagine what they're going through.
I can't either. I can't. Just the fear and worry, and they just want to see each other. So hopefully that comes Saturday.
Okay, fingers crossed. Michelle Molesky with our top story. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Meantime, an Essex County farmer is collecting money to help their work family.
One guy, Andre here, his house is flooded. He's lost his roof. So it's like, you know, anything that we can do to help them is greatly appreciated.
Brad Raymond of Raymond's Berries is raising money to help the 9 Jamaican migrant workers who work at his cotton farm. Some have been coming here for more than a decade. Raymond says they're more than employees. They are part of their family as they've traveled to Jamaica to see where they live in the off-season. Here in Canada, Raymond is collecting donations at their farm market on County Road 14. And within less than 12 hours, they've already raised more than $4,000. He says it is difficult to be on the opposite side of the crisis, trying to get his workers back home to Jamaica.
I've had to tell them twice that flights have been canceled. Like, you know, we're just trying to get them home. They want to be home with their families. And you know, we work with CanAg Travel, and they're working hard and keeping us updated.
Meanwhile, Canada is answering the appeal for help after the powerful hurricane, and the death toll continues to climb. CTV's Abigail Beeman with rescue efforts on the ground and where the aid is needed most.
This family fights tears surveying the damage to their home in coastal Black River.
If we had stayed, we'd have died.
And at the same time feels fortunate.
And thank God I can find a bed to sleep on. So even though they are soaking wet, but we can lean them up with the water can drain out. If we even sit up, we will manage. We will manage.
Hurricane Melissa has killed dozens and caused massive destruction across Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba.
Today, our government is providing $7 million in humanitarian assistance.
That promise from Ottawa breaks down to $5 million for humanitarian partners providing aid such as sanitation and clean water, and $2 million for the World Food Program distributing food and relief. The government says Canada hasn't received any requests for military or personnel help, but stands ready.
We're standing with the Caribbean today, and we'll be here tomorrow to help rebuild stronger, safer, and more resilient.
We think this is going to be a little worse than what the initial reports are looking like.
The group Global Medic has portable water purification units and family emergency kits on the way to Jamaica, offering drone service as well. Rahul Singh says being on an island poses additional challenges.
There's less infrastructure and less capacity for folks to go to. And then with the flooding, and then the flooding sitting there, you've got to get rid of that water.
Tonight, Hurricane Melissa batters on towards Bermuda, downgraded to a still very powerful Category 2 storm. At this point, it's forecast to be a post-tropical storm as it passes Canada's east coast early Saturday morning. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
In other news, regional transit between Leamington and Windsor will come to an end next spring. Leamington Council voted to hit the brakes on the service after provincial funding dried up. County Council declined to pitch in, and year-over-year ridership showed a decline. CTV's Bob Belichico joins us with more on this tonight.
Well, Stefanie, ridership may be down, but this decision impacts a lot of people, starting with students here at St. Clair College to others who rely on that connection between Windsor and Leamington and municipalities in between.
My hopes for any more expansion of regional transit is kind of gone down the drain now.
The LTW Leamington to Windsor transit service is coming to an end next spring. A report from administration says the service is no longer sustainable for the town to operate on its own.
We start in Windsor with 2 different buses and then transfer to the Leamington bus and then go to Leamington and then back from Leamington to Windsor every Thursday.
Brianna Williams won gold at the Special Olympics World Winter Games in Italy earlier this year. The 17-year-old relies on the bus to get to Leamington from Windsor every week to train with her coach.
I train so much with my coach, and I want to see her a lot, so I have to go to Leamington, train with her.
Rob Sharon, Director of Infrastructure Services, says the Ministry of Transportation invested over $600,000 over 5 years through CT funding or community transit funding, which dried up earlier this year. A pitch was made to County Council to help fund the LTW, which stops in Kingsville and Essex on its way to Windsor, but that was turned down earlier this month.
County Council decided that because it was only servicing 3 out of the 7 communities, that they weren't willing to provide funding for that in 2026.
Sharon says 70% of the riders are from Leamington, 20 from Kingsville, and 10 from Essex.
Unfortunately, we had to look at it and just deemed the service unfeasible for us lower-tier municipalities to provide this regional transit service.
So it's a little disheartening to see that our students are going to be disadvantaged again. So if there's something we can do on our end to continue to advocate for those students' needs and issues, we will continue to fight.
Sharon says this type of transit system cannot be run on a shoestring year to year and looking for short-term funding. He notes County Council did approve money to initiate a regional transit study.
I think it's having data that is going to be important, showing the community, saying, hey, like, if we had regional transit, this is what it would cost.
So officials here at the college are hoping something positive comes out of this feasibility report. In the meantime, students and riders alike will now have to find new ways to get around the region come April. Stefanie?
Okay, Bob Elachico tonight. Thank you, Bob. Now, this leads us to our question of the day. Do you think there should be a regional transit system? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you are a member of a cultural club. Out of 600 responses, 93% say no, they are not members of a club. Meteorologist Julie Atchison joins me now from the Weather Center tonight. Julie, a wet and windy day out there.
Yeah, we have an area of low pressure that's moving by to the south of us, Stefanie, and with it some rainfall. Now the coverage across Essex County, as you can see, we have a fairly steady rainfall. Over the next couple of hours, we could see about 2 millimeters of rainfall in total tonight as we push toward midnight, close to about 5. But after midnight, the probability will drop down to about a 40% chance. Now the winds, it's been breezy out of the north, about 30 kilometers per hour, and a 40% chance of showers as we head through the overnight, as I mentioned. Now the temperature will be dropping off. We'll see the cloud cover break up. So some areas of Essex County could see the temperature dip down between about 3 and 4 degrees. Of course, you're looking forward to the forecast, I'm sure, for tomorrow. We'll break down your Halloween weather and a look ahead as we cruise into November. I'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Windsor police have issued a warrant after $100,000 worth of Uggs were stolen during a break-in. Officials say on October 12th, shortly after 1 a.m., 2 suspects were captured on surveillance video breaking through the roof of a commercial business. This happening in the 800 block of Sydney Avenue. The pair arrived in 2 vehicles and stole several boxes of Uggs shoes. They later returned around 4 a.m. and took even more boxes from the facility. Officers identified 42-year-old Damian Levanius and 36-year-old Kevin Best as suspects in this theft. Levanius has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of break and enter to commit a theft and failure to comply with a release order. Again, an arrest warrant has been issued for Kevin Best. He is also wanted for 2 counts of break and enter to commit theft over $5,000. Police say the stolen merchandise has not been recovered at this time, and investigators are hoping for any information on the location of the stolen shoes. The Ford government has passed a controversial bill that bans municipalities from using speed cameras. Bill 56, called the Building a More Competitive Economy Act, was introduced earlier this month and fast-tracked through the legislature, passing this afternoon by a vote of 69 to 41. Premier Doug Ford had repeatedly called speed cameras a cash grab, saying his government will instead focus on speed bumps, roundabouts, and better signage to slow drivers down. Critics say the devices save lives and argue the move will make roads less safe, and note the ban was never mentioned in the PC's election platform. Ford brushed off concerns about the limited debate, saying his mandate from voters gives him the authority to act. The bill now awaits royal assent. That is expected on Monday. Detroit voters are about to elect their first new mayor in more than a decade. And given how close we are, the change could have ripple effects in Windsor. CTV's Travis Fortnum has been looking into what this means for us. Travis, Detroiters will vote on Tuesday.
That's right, Stefanie. After 12 years in Detroit's mayoral office, Mike Duggan has announced he is not seeking re-election. He was first elected back in 2012 when Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens was a city councilor watching Detroit's comeback story from across the river. For the first time in more than a decade, Detroit voters are about to pick a new mayor. Mike Duggan isn't seeking re-election, ending a 12-year run that saw major changes in the Motor City's downtown economy and reputation.
I remember when I first got elected as mayor in 2014, and he came over and we had lunch downtown and just caught up on various issues, and we've always been able to stay in contact since that time.
Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens says that connection between city halls has always mattered and will keep mattering no matter who's in charge across the river. He says having a direct line to Detroit's leadership can make a difference when cross-border issues arise.
I think it's really important that the mayor of Windsor have a good relationship with the mayor of Detroit and keep those lines of communication open, because you never know when you're going to have an Ambassador Bridge closure for a week.
More recently, having an ally in the D has proven important when talking trade and tariffs.
You can have those conversations across the border, try and influence those voices who are going to be more powerful than mine as a mayor in Canada.
From a business perspective, Windsor-Essex Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Ryan Donnelly says whoever sits in Detroit's mayor's office will help shape the regional economy that binds the two cities.
One of the best parts about being in Windsor is that access to Detroit. And I've been saying that for decades because, you know, we are brothers and sisters, we're colleagues, we're friends.
He says Detroit's momentum and investment climate have a way of rippling across the river and into Windsor.
A strong Windsor, a strong Detroit, a strong collective regional economy here is very important for us.
For Dilkins, it's less about who wins in Detroit on Tuesday and more about keeping those lines open.
I look forward to welcoming whoever the next mayor of Detroit is. We'll still have a great relationship.
Now, Duggan says he is not leaving politics. He's announced his intention to run for governor of Michigan with Gretchen Whitmer's term coming to an end. Stefanie.
Okay, Travis Fortnum reporting from the Detroit River tonight. Thank you, Travis. Meantime, a Windsor veteran's dream of honoring her fellow service members is about to set sail. What started as a personal mission has grown into a powerful community tribute ahead of Remembrance Day. CTV's Chris Campbell explains.
It started as a personal mission for local veteran Natalie Burgoyne. She wanted to treat her fellow service members to something special, even if it meant paying for it herself.
Well, being a veteran, I kind of see how underappreciated and undersupported veterans are at times. And I thought that this would be a lovely way to be able to show my appreciation.
Now, with the help of sponsors and the Windsor Premier Cruise Company, that dream is about to set sail.
I'm humbled. I've always said it takes a village. It's difficult to move a boulder by yourself, but as a community, if everybody lifts, a small portion of it, it becomes easier to move mountains.
On November 7th, a Veteran Appreciation Day Sale will take veterans and their partners, 170 people in total, out on the Detroit River for an afternoon of food, music, and gratitude.
It's great to see a naval veteran putting us back on the water with our local veterans. I think it's an excellent opportunity to connect with our community.
A number of local sponsors stepped up, helping offset what would have been roughly $3,000 in expenses.
My sailors won't pass up a day on the water, so I'm just happy that we can support in any way we can, making sure that we can connect and learn from our veterans while we still have them as well.
It's another ripple in a wave of community tributes for those who served. New veterans crosswalks recently appearing in Leamington, LaSalle, and Windsor.
It's humbling for me to know that one day I will be that veteran that leaves the uniform, and that we have such a strong community of support down here in Windsor-Essex.
Burgoyne hopes this first cruise becomes a yearly tradition, sailing into Remembrance Week with pride, reflection, and unity. In Windsor, Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Royal reckoning still ahead on Windsor's news leader. King Charles moves to strip Prince Andrew of his royal titles and his home. As millions struggle to make ends meet, what, if anything, will Ottawa's first budget do to help? And tomorrow, all eyes on Game 6. The Jays are one win away from a World Series title. What it'll take to seal the deal, that's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. A somber vigil in Nova Scotia marking nearly 6 months since two young siblings vanished without a trace.
Our search for Jack and Lily will always push through.
Friends and family gathered at a memorial for the missing children outside the RCMP detachment in Stellarton last night. Jack and Lily Sullivan were reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station on May 2nd. Family members say that not knowing where the children are is the hardest part.
Not having answers, not knowing, not having any direction to follow. It's all the days are kind of the same. You wake up and you go to sleep with the same thing on your mind, and you just want the answers, and we have nothing.
The memorial will be moved from the RCMP detachment to a nearby storefront as winter approaches. King Charles has initiated a formal process to strip his brother Andrew of his royal title, including Prince. Andrew will now be called Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He will also have to give up the lease on his residence Royal Lodge and move to private housing. It's the latest fallout from sexual abuse allegations against him and his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew gave up other titles, including Duke of York, earlier this month. Mark Carney is still overseas and working to expand trade with Asia-Pacific partners. Today, as CTV's Judy Trin reports, the Prime Minister got his first look at the South Korean contender to replace Canada's aging submarine fleet.
This is Hanwha's KSS-3 submarine, launched into the sea just in time for the Prime Minister's visit. Mark Carney climbed down 7 meters to check out what the South Koreans want Canada to buy.
I told him we can build a submarine in 6 years.
The Royal Canadian Navy needs to begin replacing its aging fleet by 2035. Of its 4 submarines, only 1 is operational, the others in maintenance.
It's the only technology in the Navy that guarantees that we control our waters. We get to say who comes into our waters, and if they don't have our permission, then we can keep them out.
Hanwha uses robot technology to build its submarines, which will cost about $2 billion each. It's competing with a German-Norwegian venture. Carney toured TKMS over the summer. Its state-of-the-art vessel is still in production. During a visit to Ottawa last week, the CEO didn't provide a cost estimate.
And of course, we will calculate on a base what the customer wants to have, which capabilities should the submarine have. So for us, I think it's too early to shout out a price range.
The Navy wants to buy 12 new submarines. The successful bid must also benefit Canada.
Factors like industrial benefits for the country, the use of Canadian inputs, materials like steel, the timeliness of the delivery of a submarine, for example, will be important for us.
The federal government says it will choose the winning submarine contractor in 2026, but it could happen earlier. Judy Trin, CTV News, Koje, South Korea.
An apology today from the Canadian Armed Forces to current and former members who experienced racial discrimination and harassment while serving. It was delivered by the military's top brass. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver on the message from the military.
Reuben Coward has been out of the military longer than he was in it. But the trauma after years of painful encounters ranging from racial slurs to being passed over for promotions still affect him and his family.
Until we have people willing to move en masse to dismantle and decolonialize this nonsense, it's going to be a chapter and verse in my granddaughter's life, who's only 6.
But decades after Coward's retirement, military members continue to face racism and sexism on the job.
It was extremely hard because I joined when I was 16 years old.
Jay Day says the first racial slur came early in her 17-year career.
I started to receive a lot of negative comments based on my skin color, based on being a very petite woman as well. And that just trickled into so many other feelings of not really feeling proud to wear the uniform.
Today, the Canadian Armed Forces gathered survivors for a long-awaited apology for the treatment racialized members have faced.
I apologize to every CAF member, veteran who experienced racism, discrimination, and harassment. And I acknowledge we failed you.
An acknowledgement the Chief of Defense Staff says marks both a milestone and a difficult day for the military.
We failed to live up to the values we project and promote around the world every day.
But feelings among veterans today are mixed.
The apology, in my humble opinion, is hollow.
May this apology mark not an end, but a beginning.
The military, which recent reports show is becoming more diverse, says that it is committed to real and lasting change, and that this is one step along that path. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Back home, many families are struggling to make ends meet and increasingly relying on food banks. The federal government has vowed to tackle the cost of living. Here's CTV's Heather Wright.
In her spare time, Annetta Wozniak bakes. Cream puffs, tiramisu, beautiful cakes. It's a passion of hers, but also a way to try and make some extra money.
It's a huge challenge to live in downtown Toronto.
Wozniak is one of the millions of Canadians living paycheck to paycheck. She's a single mom and has a job, but is struggling. She uses the food bank where she also volunteers, but fears she may soon be evicted as she struggles to pay rent.
I don't pay fully rent because I don't make enough. My one income, it's not enough for me and my daughter. But I'm doing my best.
With the Carney government set to unveil its first budget next week, people like Wozniak will be watching for anything that might make their lives more affordable. The Liberals have already announced plans to make the National School Food Program, which provides meals to 400,000 children, permanent. Ottawa will also start automatic benefits for the 2026 tax year that will ensure 5.5 million low-income Canadians receive eligible tax breaks, including the GST HST credit, the Canada Child Benefit, and the Canada Disability Benefit. There could also be tax breaks to help those working in skilled trades and personal support workers. But financial experts caution it's unlikely the federal budget will include anything that will make an immediate impact on affordability.
I can't imagine anything in the budget that is going to be even targeted specifically for you that's going to be material enough to take you from being in a situation of financial despair to one of financial success overnight. That's just an unrealistic expectation.
While the government is expected to increase spending in certain areas, the Prime Minister has also warned of sacrifices that will have to be made during this time of economic uncertainty. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada's main stock index saw a small bump helped by gains in the basic materials sector. The TSX was up 34 points. The Dow lost 109. The Nasdaq dropped over 370. The loonie fell over a third of a cent. Gold rose over $15 an ounce. Oil was up 9 cents a barrel. Staying sharp, looking to avoid cognitive decline and protect your brain? The surprising secret that's still ahead.
Windy conditions expected for your Friday, but Halloween weather looking up in terms of shower coverage. We're expecting that to wind down as we head through the overnight. Thank you so much, Mark S., for sending this photo in. A great shot from Point Pelee. Stay with us. I'll have all your local forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
Gray and gloomy outside. Julie joins me again. Now, Julie, many eyes on tomorrow's forecast as it is Halloween, and we do want to make sure those trick-or-treaters are properly dressed.
Absolutely. Our temperature as we head out for the evening is looking pretty good, and the risk of showers is dropping off as well. So we will go with partly cloudy skies at about 7 o'clock, 9 degrees. We'll be close to 10, but the temperature is going to start to come down to about 8 as we push past 8 o'clock. So at trick-or-treat time, things are looking much improved. The forecast is turning in our favor as we head out trick-or-treating. Now today, 11 degrees are high, 8 degrees are low. So comparing that with what's normal for this time of year, we're not too far from where we should be. We did have some heavy rainfall earlier in the day, and as we head through the evening, the chance for rain will continue. The area of low pressure well off to the south, and it's driving all of this moisture northward. The other factor today was the gusty winds. Winds at the Windsor Airport gusting close to 50 kilometers per hour. Gusty winds will be part of our weather story tomorrow as well. So the low pressure area departing off to the east, taking the rainfall to the maritime provinces. You can see some mixed precipitation, some heavy rainfall warnings in effect north of Toronto and in eastern Ontario, and some flakes of snow in the higher elevations. Next 24-hour model will clear this system out, but we'll still have the gusty winds. So a fairly tight pressure gradient in between systems as the low pressure system departs and high pressure starts to build in. So that will create some gusty conditions right across the region. In terms of the afternoon winds, upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour. Through the day tomorrow, we're expecting some nice big breaks of sunshine. There's still a slight risk for showers, and the reason is this moisture that's coming off Lake Michigan. So we could see a very spotty shower move through, but not expecting a whole lot. As we look from coast to coast tonight, you can see temperatures quite fall-like across the region, and we're going to usher in November with some temperatures that are a bit above average. Now, in terms of Hurricane Melissa, where it's headed now towards the Avalon Peninsula, that'll be the main impact in parts of Newfoundland as we head into Friday. But other than that, you can see it's quickly weakening, which is good news after really causing catastrophic damage in parts of the Caribbean. Now, as we look overnight, temperatures will dip down between about 4 and 5 degrees across Essex County. Forecast high tomorrow, not a bad day, so nice breaks of sunshine. By noon hour, we're at 12 and we'll hit 13 degrees, but those winds out of the west, 30, again, gusts of 50, but we could see some peak gusts sneak in there. Our Enercare forecast for your Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud and 12 degrees, 13 on Sunday and mainly sunny, and then a mix Monday into Tuesday. Daytime highs above average as we usher in November. Looking good next week. This is going to be some beautiful weather with some sunshine in the extended forecast. Next opportunity for rain will come as we head a week out. So still a slight chance for showers, Stefanie, heading into tomorrow, although that probability is very low. This is some off-lake moisture coming off of Lake Michigan, so it could generate a very scattered shower at the surface. But other than that, it looks like things are looking good as we head out to do some trick-or-treating.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Ontario families are now waiting 5 years to get autism services for their kids. The Ontario Autism Coalition launched a Freedom of Information request after parents reported an increase in wait times over the past several years. It found that more than 84,000 children are registered for the autism program, but fewer than 20,000 of them are receiving funding to access core services. Those who are now receiving funding signed up for the program 5 years ago. Ontario's Children, Community and Social Services Minister refused to say whether that is an acceptable length of time. If you love music and listen often, you may be doing yourself more of a favor than you know. Australian researchers conducted a survey and found people who listen to music regularly have lower rates of cognitive decline. The researchers looked at more than 10,000 adults and found those who listened to music daily had a 39% reduced risk of dementia. Playing a musical instrument was also associated with a lower risk of dementia compared to those who rarely listen to or play music. In other news, from fake delivery updates to phony tax refunds, scam texts are flooding Canadians' phones every single day. They look real, and concern about getting duped is growing. CTV's Pat Foran reports.
Many of us are bombarded with fake texts on a daily basis. They may say you have a 407 bill due, money from the government ready to deposit, or a traffic ticket. They might also say you have a delivery from Canada Post, a job offer, or a rebate from your phone company. Kevin Borisic of Bowmanville recently used Facebook Marketplace to sell a fishing rod. He got an e-transfer link sent to him and expected to receive $150. Instead, when he clicked on it, he was scammed out of $400.
I expected to get an e-transfer from him. I didn't expect to have money go out of my account.
A cybersecurity survey by Equifax found that 1 in 3 Canadians received fraudulent job offers or fake CRA texts in the last 3 months. The survey shows 75% of Canadians worry about being hacked, 13% admit clicking on a fraudulent link, and 6% have already had their identity stolen. Equifax says many of the scam messages are designed to sound pressing, pressuring you to act fast.
Any of those urgent requirements, that should be the first red flag that there might actually be an issue here.
There is a new website, Stand Against Scams, which is part of a national awareness campaign launched by the Anti-Scam Coalition. Companies have come together to help educate Canadians on how to protect themselves and recognize fraud. The central message is a 3-step process: stop and think. Check to see if it's legitimate. If you're not sure, ask family and friends. And talk, then share details about scams to protect others.
The best strategy at this point is vigilance and using multiple layers of protection.
Be suspicious of any unknown text you receive until you can check it out thoroughly, and be cautious before clicking on links sent to you. Borisic says he was hoping to make a little money selling a fishing pole when instead he was scammed out of $400 he can't afford to lose.
You hear it all the time happening to different people. You never expect it to happen to yourself.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Coming up, we're at an award-winning haunted house, Johnny.
And as a certified Halloweener, I couldn't be more excited.
Stay tuned. We'll tell you about it.
Author K.G. Michelli is shining a light on Windsor's oldest neighborhood in her new book, Tales of Sandwich Town, exploring the haunted history of landmarks like the Windsor Jail, Mackenzie House, and Death Bobby House.
There's one lady who had actually experienced, she saw this creature in St. John's Cemetery. And she explained it to kind of look like a gargoyle, but I guess it was sort of a myth at the time that she was told by a groundskeeper that there was like a bull, quote unquote, that kind of lurked around the cemetery at night, scaring people away, and that it would follow you. And there was someone who actually claimed to have seen this creature in the cemetery itself. That one kind of caught me off guard.
That has to do with her writing of the book. This is one of 23 stories of paranormal activity Michelli details in her book. She says the spark to write came from her own experience on Texas Road in Amherstburg, which led her to write Tales of Texas Road. Michelli is also a co-director and co-producer of a new television series featuring 6 different stories from Tales of Texas Road. She says the series is scheduled to air on Bell 5 in March of 2026. Turning now to our new weekly segment, What's Up YQG, with Johnny Parks from our sister station Virgin Radio, and of course our own Melanie Kentner. You two have a very special Halloween edition for us tonight.
Yeah, we're at an award-winning haunted house for this one. Johnny, do you get spooked easily?
I actually love scary stuff so much. So if you're a big Halloweener like I am, you want to check out St. Mary's Cemetery in Riverside. We are with the owner, Nancy. Can you tell us about your haunt?
Our haunt is a 265-foot interactive maze, and there is something for every level of bravery. If you don't want to go through the maze, you can bypass that and go down the driveway to the garage where we have a mad scientist lab all set up, or you can just walk around the driveway and see all the crazy things to see.
Definitely lots of things to check out, and you won the Scare House Best Yard Haunt Award. What do you think helped you win that award? My husband and I, Todd Dunford, we did a lot of upgrades to our haunt with 6 fire exits, fire extinguishers, glow-in-the-dark exit signs, and training for people that help do scares.
That's good. It sounds safe, and that's great because I am one wiener that doesn't want to get roasted, so I appreciate that. Can you tell us about the Coffin of Kindness?
The Coffin of Kindness is something that we came up with to help collect donations, non-perishables, canned goods, toiletries, socks, hats, mitts, things like that for people in need. And we help Riverside, Feeding Riverside, Heart to Hands Restart, and Windsor Family Services.
Well, I did bring you some cans for that today.
Oh, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
That's great that you're giving back. So what are your plans for the big day Halloween?
Lots of battery changes, lots of tweaking of signs and tweaking of tombstones because wind is our enemy. So there's always lots of setup. We put up extra signage to make sure that the flow of traffic, they go in one way, they come out another, because we have so many people here that we have to keep kind of control of everything.
Well, it looks so amazing, and we put the links on our website so people can check out this display and some of the other ones. And there are a few other things going on this weekend. What else is happening, John?
The day after Halloween, you could check out the Harvest Festival at Peely Island Winery. Also, WIF is still going on this weekend in downtown Windsor.
That's right. Still lots of great screenings, maybe some thrillers, something like this display. So make sure to check those out. And that's What's Up YQG.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. You're invited to the Athena Scholarship Luncheon, Friday, November the 7th, at the St. Clair College Center for the Arts, featuring keynote speaker Danielle Campo-McLeod. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Kate Otterbein. And Kate, we're returning to our top story, obviously the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
That's right, Stefanie. The waiting is the hardest part for the Kell and Berg families, who are literally sitting by their phones waiting for a call. Aislinn Kell, her friend Kylie McRae, and their partners are in Jamaica. They had to wait in line for 3 hours for a 40-minute bus trip closer to the airport to call home. The next time that call comes, Mom Jenny Kell is hoping to tell them about the free emergency cell service on the island from Starlink.
You have to go through your settings like you would for any kind of Wi-Fi, turn on your Bluetooth, turn on everything, and look for the Flow satellite system. It's currently being offered free to people that are in Jamaica. Problem is, because we don't have contact with our people, we can't get, they don't know that that's available right now.
Their full story is available online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And Kate, a very exciting night tomorrow night. Of course, it's Halloween, and police do have some safety tips for us.
Absolutely. Tomorrow is the big night, and that means we want to make sure that the kids are safe while they're out collecting candy, enjoying the festivities. Windsor Police and Essex OPP both offered their advice for drivers. You're reminded to drive below the speed limit in residential areas. You also should watch for kids, especially when turning around or backing up. It's also advised that you put down your cell phone, avoid any distractions, and turn on your headlights early. Police also remind us young kids should always have an adult with them while out collecting candy. See the full list of advice on our website. And in our social spotlight tonight, meet Chevy, Sarnia Fire's biggest fan. Sarnia Fire Rescue posted Chevy the Chocolate Lab on their social media today, showcasing her spot-on fire truck impression, if you ask me. In the post, the fire department thanked Chevy for her support and that they're a big fan of hers, too. She's just doing her civic duty, making sure everyone knows there's an emergency. How sweet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of her as well. What a cutie, you know. Those sirens, sometimes not as loud. No, I'm joking. The sirens are really, really loud.
Very.
But, you know, it does capture your attention even further if you see Chevy out there howling.
Adorable. They should get her a hat.
Yes, they should. An honorary little ceremony as well for her efforts.
Absolutely.
So if any of our viewers at home want some video that they want to submit for the trending segment, how can they do that?
You can send us an email at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it in to 10400.
The man behind the mic. He's been the Jays' voice for 20 years, and now it's his World Series debut. When we return, we meet the voice of the Blue Jays. Julie joins us one last time for a look at the weather.
Thanks so much, Stefanie. Our Enercare forecast heading into tomorrow, expecting some big breaks of sunshine. Now, these icons sometimes can be a bit misleading, about a 40% chance of showers. So this is just some moisture coming off the lake. The main weather system moving out, so we could see a very light spotty shower, but not expecting any rainfall. So as you head out to do your trick-or-treating, skies will be partly cloudy and the temperature hovering at around 9 degrees. 12 heading into Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, mainly sunny on Sunday, and 13 heading into November with some warmth. A mix of sun and cloud on Monday, beautiful at 15. 14 under a mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday, and the chance for showers returning as we head toward midweek. So slight chance for rainfall as we head through the day tomorrow, but expecting some peaks of sunshine and a nice looking forecast as we head into the weekend. Stefanie, back to you.
If you're a Blue Jays fan, you already know his voice, even if you don't know his name. A man from Northern Ontario has become the voice of the team, and now he's announcing on baseball's biggest stage, the World Series. CTV Amanda Hicks has the story.
So today, here we are in the audio control room.
Tim Langton's voice sets the tone for every Blue Jays game held in Toronto. He's been the team's public address announcer for the last 2 decades, but he didn't get his start under bright stadium lights. It all began in his hometown of Kirkland Lake.
I wound up being told of a of a job at CJKL, little radio station up in Kirkland Lake, and it was news, and I said, don't send anybody else. This is my job. And she told the news director at the time, and he liked that, so he hired me. And that's where it all started.
That experience led him to radio stations across the province before he eventually landed a job in the audio department in what was then called the Sky Dome. Langton still uses an old-fashioned scorecard to keep his eye on every play, and he describes the character he brings to the mic as big and loud to hype up the fans.
When I say Vladimir Guerrero when we're sitting here talking, but when I say it on the mic, it's Vladimir Guerrero. So there, there's a little bit of a difference there. And it's fun to do that, to be a little different and just to take it a little farther. So that's kind of where the character, it's brash, the character's brash, in your face, and a big fan.
Now, Langton is calling his first World Series something he says is a privilege.
Game one, I had butterflies like I haven't had since my very first game. It really hasn't landed yet. It still seems kind of surreal that here we are after all these years and coming close, and it's almost unbelievable still.
Langton is one of only 3 PA announcers in Blue Jays history. He attributes a majority of his success to his early beginnings in Kirkland Lake, demonstrating a big voice can come from a small town. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
A great voice there. On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching. For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca. I'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.